and they might ask them to share with you, maybe with WhatsApp or any other aspect in email. So you all can get it, because I know when you do practically the work, whenever the issues comes, only this we can, you might get into that. So, but when you have some general idea now, at least you know where to refer. So this inventory management, everything coming from the financial regulations. So that part, whichever the profession we are supposed to have a good understanding and knowledge on those inventory management. Why? These are, heavily touching areas and probably badly questioned by auditors, internal auditors, and some other investigators and everyone. Therefore, we need to make sure we have a good record keeping, maintenance of our inventories, and we can't say our profession is not related to these areas, wherever we are and whatever the profession. Therefore, it's always better to have good understanding. So actually my way of conducting the lecture is somewhat interactive, sharing with videos, discussions, questioning, and that's all. But with the 1 hour lecture, I can't do any of these things. So I will not be doing everything about the inventory management, because at least one day will be needed. But within 1 hour, so I have some idea what would be useful for you from those, and only these basic parts I am going to do. Right. So then when you get this PowerPoint presentation, please keep it with you, and then those financial regulations, little bit will keep touch, and probably when you do the work, these all are touching with you, I'm sure. First we'll see the transfer of stores. So first we need to know simply in inventory management what is important to us and why it is important. When we are doing the works, you all maybe you will be dealing with some fixed assets, items coming under your area, as well as the medicines. So these stuff, whenever you are handling the receipts and payments, receipt side and issuing sides, and maintaining your initial documents, these areas are helpful because we'll be questioning in different ways. Because we'll see the transfer of the stores. So this is not a big area touching. Some areas which are not that much of useful, I'll be little going fast, and I'm not going to discuss all the slides areas. So the transfer of stores meaning whenever you have the inventories, you might have to transfer these items between the departments. Departments meaning it's not something like different organizations. Okay, even within from your books, if it goes away to another set of books, maybe another chief pharmacist or another superintendent or someone like that, if you are transferring your items, so that is it's applicable FR 297 transfer of stores. So that area, there is nothing much to talk about. When we are transferring, we transfer the value, item value. So we will discuss these in detail. So how you are going to remove from your books and how to take those into the new set of books. Right. So just you listening is so just you little bit of keep in touch on this area is enough, because we will be doing that part again when we come to the next few slides. So what are the books you are supposed to maintain? Simply here, inventory books. The different inventory books are there supposed to be maintained with you. Probably these might be available in printed forms in your organizations. If not, so you have to inform what are these, and you are supposed to get it printed by informing the head of your organization. We are not sure, not certain that those are maintained in the same manner in every organization. What are these? Simply the inventory books. So every department and sub-office of a department, so there are no special store rules prescribed. So these all they have to maintain the general 144. So this general 144 is about what? The receipt and issue of the articles. Articles meaning here about any item of inventory what you are having. So in this financial regulations we say articles about what? It can be any kind of plant, machine, equipment or any other furniture or such item, or even any inventory item what you are having. That's what this article means. So when you are issuing when you are maintaining your inventory book, so general 44, that is about the receipts and issue of goods. So according to the general 44, you have what are the receipts and what are the issue books. So based on that, so simply these are printed and available in a proper form. You no need to worry about what general 144 is. But remember that it's all about, so you might be already familiar with those general 44 when you are working as well. So simply in this one, several books we can maintain. I have just highlighted which one. we'll see. So for your convenience, I have highlighted the key areas. So when you are reading, you are not supposed to read this everything, and you all can see the basic stuff. So inventory book. So general 144 is the inventory book, what you will be maintaining in your organization. So including the receipts and issues. So whenever you are getting the items into your books, and whenever you are issuing the items from your book to another, maybe to a section or to some other place, so you will be recording those in the general 144. So then article, what I said before is that means here in the FR 454, the articles meaning any kind of inventory item. It can be furniture, office equipment, and pictures and fittings, because those are even in your section, whatever available, addition to those medical items will be coming under you. Maybe you might be responsible in some cases for these items as well. So therefore, you are supposed to take those into your inventories. So inventory of electrical fittings, that even comes, because wherever you are working in that place, these items also come. So catalog books, these are probably not there much in inventories. So I'm not discussing this much because the key areas are coming, right? Nothing much to worry about taking down these. You all will be getting full set, right? So we'll come to this foreign nets and expenditure. You know, this is not much coming, I think, for you all, but somewhat may be important. So that means simply, if you get something like medicines or some other items as a foreign net, that meaning that is not purchased by your institute, right? Then you don't get in the general procedure those into your books. Maybe sometimes straight away it's coming like maybe a donation to you, some items. So I don't have clear idea what kind of items we all come in, but probably you might rarely getting those, right? Maybe as a donation from a particular organization or maybe foreign nets. If so, how to record this? Simply, you know, you might not have the idea about the valuation or something like that. So if you need some kind of assistance for valuation, you need to discuss them with whom? The Director General of the External Resources Department. That means you have to inform your organization that those values must be taken. Probably your values may be in dollars. So the value may be in dollars, but you don't know how to take your books, some items, right? So then, in that kind of context, you are supposed to value the item at the spot exchange rate. That means the date at which it has purchased and received to you, the date prevailing exchange rate from maybe dollar to Sri Lankan rupee. Probably you might be busy with, you don't want to do these all calculations all, but the organization where you are working is responsible to do that, at least on behalf of you, so you have to inform that to the organization. So they have to write to the Director General of External Resources, and they will be giving you the value, and ultimately with their consultation only the valuation has to be done. So we can't assign any value as we wish, otherwise what happens? Problems comes. That's it from there. The stores. So stores, those articles we said, any kind of items coming in your inventories other than land and buildings, trees. Storekeeper. So you can see, even you are pharmacies, when you are handling your inventory items, you are a storekeeper. So that complete responsibility comes to you as well. You cannot say that I am superintendent pharmacist, I am not a storekeeper, right? So storekeeper is not kind of a separate profession. So it is a profession open for everyone, right? Therefore, in this context, automatically the responsibility passes to you when you are working as in your profession, right? So look at that. Any officer who is in charge with the task relating to the receipt, custody of issue of the stores. That means, of course, we all will be in that position when we are doing, right? I mean, you all. So therefore, remember, we need to know what our duties are as a storekeeper. So this is not your all the duties, but only as a storekeeper, when you are handling the inventory management, what would be your duties? Other than the duties what you already know as your profession. First one, the acceptance of stores into personal custody, acknowledging them for them at all times. So, acceptance of stores into your personal custody. So look at the word, the personal custody. That they are not saying a kind of official custody. It's all about the personal custody. So that has some kind of, the different meaning. When you are undertaking something on behalf of the government, so you are personally responsible for that item. That's why I have seen sometimes when we are working, the many investigations are happening and issues are coming up relating to those who are handling inventories. Because sometimes we think these all are the public and therefore we all will be fine and we can just hand it over this to the next one and we can go and we are not supposed to balance off the books and keep nicely. That's how initially most of the people think. But remember, when you refer to FR 750, whenever the auditors referring to these and sending the audit queries and when whatever the investigations going on, they will be going in the right procedure. So in that case, we all are in trouble. So once you come into such a trouble, knowing how it says in the books is useless. So what we are supposed to do is to be aware in advance. So personal responsibility comes like that, because so your transfers or any other matter will be subject to this. So you have to have a good clearance in this area. Even these life areas, we need to have a good clearance. So we need to keep our responsibility, that's why. Right. So in that case, accepting and also acknowledging the items. So that doing this accounting part means you are not doing the accounting part into the books of accounts of the organization, but when you record in your books, that's what here accounting means. Whatever the inventory item coming to you, you need to make it inventorized. Proper custody of stores, keeping them in a good condition and methodically arranged so as to admit of each locations and verifications at any time. So simply this happens, inventory items most of the times neglected in in most of the places. Then finally what happens when a verification comes? You can't find what these items are. Books are not well maintained. Many issues comes like, sometimes when you are not balancing of your books, daily, whatever the maybe medicine, medical items or non-medical, whatever coming into your inventory books and whatever going out of your books. So if you have not daily balance, or maybe your procedure of balancing might be not be sometimes daily, maybe weekly or whatever your way. If the balancing is not happening, so you don't have a good idea what's there in your inventory and what's not there, right? And also probably when you are taking over the position from someone else, you have to be very careful as well. Sometimes you might just, whoever will be straight away hand it over to you and go and vanish. But then Brendan there, you have to carry on. If someone smart comes after you, he or she might not take in the same hand. I have seen a lot in that kind of way. So someone has passed the ball to you slowly and go on, so vanish. But all that, whatever the bullshit, the garbage, you have to carry. So therefore you have to be careful when you are taking over as well. Because these all responsibility comes to you, you need to have a good record, good maintenance. Otherwise, because I have been involved in the past few days also, actually some investigations against pharmacists in National Hospital. So they are, that particular lady has actually gone for maternity leave. In between that, then we have to hand it over from her to another pharmacist. There the chief pharmacist has checked on these items, whatever the inventory, certain items are in deficit, the right quantity is not there. Then what she can do is to report the head of the organization. Once reported, investigation. So then how to handle this issue? That means if you have maintained, sometimes of course these are medical items. What you will say that simply shortages are possible when you are working, right? So always you can't issue exactly the quantity and these shortages. So we know when we are handling with the items, shortages comes. That's the practical context. But we can't write that and inform that these shortages comes in our practical way. So we have to daily balance and we have to make sure the balance is there, right? So that otherwise the issues, you have to properly maintain your issue books, right, as it is issued in that daily basis. So otherwise, when you get it loaded, little quantities, deficit comes into a large quantity. That's what practically happens. Okay. Sometimes you might have received less, or maybe you have issued the medicines much more. Sometimes that happens. Maybe end of the day, it's a small quantity, but maybe end of 2-3 years, it's a large quantity. Then you are in a big trouble. That's why you are supposed to have a good eye on this area. Keep eye on this area. Proper custody of stores, keeping them in a good condition, and methodically said that. Issues and disposal of the stores under proper authority. Yes, issuing and disposal. That means authorization. Maybe sometimes you might have to take the authorization, maybe from the chief pharmacist or the superintendent pharmacist or someone else. So that authorization has to be taken properly, and then and there signed and completed. No issues. Reoccupant of stores in accordance with the authorized procedures, maintenance of the distribution list with the proper acknowledgement for stores assigned under the authority. That's also issues comes area. You know, sometimes you have distributed. That comes probably, maybe, I don't know how, in case of your profession, how it exactly comes. Maybe you have to issue the medicines to different, maybe to wards, right, sections, like that. And then when you are doing so, whether you have done properly, whether you have distributed and updated your issue books properly. If not, you may not be able to balance the books. That you have to keep on eye. Maintenance of records, registered accounts for all receipts, issues and disposals of stores in the required manner, supported by appropriate documents. So that is also key, you know, your set of books maintenance. Some people are very smart, more than doing the work, maintaining the books. But some people are doing the work very well, but pretty poor in maintenance of the book. Probably you have a good balance there. Otherwise, what happens? Those you might be so busy with the work and doing the job very well, but finally you are in a mess because of your poor balancing daily basis. That we can see. Making issues only to person whose identity has been established. Yeah, generally that is the way always we do, no? So whoever, maybe to the authorized people, maybe to the those in charge, or sisters or some other people who are being authorized to take the medicines or some other items from you. Reporting to the appropriate store officers regarding doubts and personal attention requiring repairs or disposal. That means, you know, any item may be broken down, or this is not about the medical items, some non-medical items probably, right? Sometimes we can see some, whenever you are undertaking certain items, those items can be still bad condition, but you have undertaken it as a good condition, right? Because the books maintained as a good condition, later on it's not updated as it's been broken and not reported. So what you are getting to your books is something like mentioned as a good condition. You don't care anything, you just undertaken, the person whoever handed it over goes. Then your books state the inventory item, right? Non-medical, electrical, whatever the items, in a good condition, right? But actually it is already broken down. Definite problem comes. It happened, I can remember there were many investigations went on, and I was involved there, and many people were in a trouble. We had to report these all even to the ministry in some cases, and mostly what we can help, and we did. So that's also, that's there for most of the people, because whenever item is being broken, we have to inform that's broken. So that's possible. There is a disposal procedure. So the item, there are many items with us, those will be broken. So therefore, if so, kindly you inform me and keep it as a broken item, or otherwise do dispose, whatever. Then all right. So when you have not updated your books, whatever the government book states as it is a good item. Whenever the verification comes, those verification authority conditions. So when you get to know, so this even is 15th day of the December, the particular verification department can put it into a date what convenience to them. So they might not keep inform exactly to you the date, but maybe suddenly come and that's how they sometimes do. Maybe sometimes they might inform, or otherwise might just suddenly come. So whenever after the 15th, about the inventory items of that year, you have to make sure at any time you are ready to help them for verifications. So they might be checking all your book inventory items, and one by one they will be cross-checking with the physical items available. That's what simply inventory verification, as you all are aware of. So those inventory officers will be coming, and they have all the records what is taken from your books, and then physical quantities being tallied with your books. Whichever the surplus or shortage, both are in trouble, both are problems. So it will be questioning and queries are coming up. Therefore, you have to make sure the items are being cleared, and if you have some surplus item, that also have to import, and you have to inventorize that. That means if you have surplus item, take those into the books. Because of the surplus, if you disregard, that's also not a good practice, right? Say after certain period, you have sometimes surplus items. As it is surplus, if you think that won't be questioned, that is not the case. It will be questioned. Therefore, the much better you do make sure that you are taking them into the books. You can inform the organization that these quantities being taken as surplus, maybe because it may be accumulated in the profession after some times. Therefore, please take the necessary steps to take these items to your books. Then they are responsible to maybe assign some kind of a committee to do. They assign a committee, including your members, and they check on these all and get the quantity and finally take your books. Then no problem. Right. These board of survey matters are not important for you all. Other than that, functions of the board of survey is not also important to you all, what I have already said. So they will cross-check your balances with the physical quantity and books. Other thing is continuous survey of the stores from the Auditor General Department. So they can do any time, they can investigate our books at any time without prior notice. That's the case that applicable for any of the government organizations. So they are not bound to give any notice in advance that they are coming and checking. That's why we are supposed to make sure that we maintain our books well balanced, right? So whenever they come to our organization, we cannot say that we have not balanced and come late, right? So if they do a physical count at whatever the time, then if they find some kind of a shortage, if they record, so no excuses. Therefore, what is much better is to keep well balanced. So if you have not balanced for a long period when it comes to problem, so we alert on that as well. Loss or shortage of the stores. This is also I told you. Of course, the procedure FR 102 about the whatever the item losses and shortages. That is a little lengthy procedure. I have not given in detail here. But remember, if you have lost an item, probably losses happens a lot, right? Losses happens a lot. That losses sometimes maybe comes naturally, right? So natural losses are happening. That's why these the FR 102 and FR 760 refer for the losses and shortages of the stocks. This naturally happens. Finally, at that time if you deal, it's a natural loss. Later you deal in means it's like kind of a corruption or some kind of misconduct. That's how it goes, right? Because especially there is a treasury advance account maintained in the Department of Treasury in the Ministry of Finance against those losses and shortages, right? So if you have these kind of natural losses, you have to inform these losses to your organization and with the reason. Then they appoint a board and will investigate and decide to write to the, through the ministry to write to the treasury. And then they write off these losses against the treasury advance account. Treasury advance account. Then there is no issue. That's the general procedure in FR 102 what I briefed. If you don't know about it, but you don't mind, then finally, maybe after a few years, that loss is a huge sum, and it's not a natural loss, it's abnormal. Once it comes as abnormal, you can't write off. No one permit, and no committee can approve such a big amount, even approve, they don't accept. There are many occasions I have seen. Annual audit examinations, we said they can check inventory books and all. Stock levels, different stock levels are there, but that's not much of coming to you. Stock rules, you can just go on through only, don't need to be much more aware of this. Stock rules. Surplus equipment to be notified to the EASU. So whenever you have the surplus items, that surplus items are actually mostly disregarded, we can see. Finally, still problems, because unless you clear your inventory records, you will not be released from your organization. That's what mostly happens. So therefore, even if it's a surplus, the same trouble comes to you. Probably in case of retirement, I have seen a lot. For some investigation, I can remember many officers, they wanted to retire. Because of the inventory issues, they were waiting for years sometimes. But the item value and whatever the problem is not a big one. But until the procedure get cleared, you won't be retired. That happens. We can't say, we can't give an excuse in that case. Therefore, be alert, even surpluses, and you have to inform your organization. So then through that, it will be informed to the treasury. So actually, surpluses no need to inform to the treasury straight away, but from the organization itself, it can be inventorized. And any kind of damages and repair. That's why if item has broken, when you inform through the government factory, it will be repaired. If not possible to repair, we have the condemning procedure. That's what the mean. That is applicable for your general items, not the medical. Maybe medical, not the consumables, others. Medical, non-consumables, it's applicable. So therefore, whenever the item is broken, we have to remember the first step is not doing condemning. So we have, mostly I have seen that many people just straight away referring this is being broken and cannot use and to be condemned and then do item. So that is not a good procedure in the government, especially now we are extremely in a difficult time. So remember, you can write straight away to the head of the organization and straight away ask them to get this repaired for you from the government factory. So we have to make a payment and the organization has to get it repaired. Those unserviceable articles, these are important to you. Condemning disposals of condemned items. So the way how the condemning disposal happens, condemning procedure. So when an item is being broken or not in a good condition and not anymore possible to be used in your organization, or otherwise you decide to you decide to dispose this, then the particular organization has to appoint a condemning board, maybe 3 members. This condemning board will investigate on and decide to do condemning procedure. Then the organization might do public auction. Newspaper article will be published and the item will be condemned. Then it means those who are the bidders might offer certain saleable value, and for that the item will be sold. Or otherwise, if it's not possible to sell, the item can be considered as written off in your books. Written off in your books meaning these are the items which are not valuable and not having any more value, if so, will be taken out of your books. That's the way. Sometimes when items are less valuable or not useful, what you are doing is no point of doing anything and you are neglecting. But your book's value is so high. Actual value is very less. But you don't care. But whenever the problem comes, what is matter is what your book value. Because item value you only knows the item value is not there anymore. I have seen many people, when we ask what's happened in investigations, what they say is, these items I did not receive even. I have never seen such an item, but it's there in my books. Sometimes it says this is not a maybe aluminium cover, it's a maybe kind of another furniture item, or otherwise it's not a metal, but it's there in the books in different ways. Sometimes it's in very good condition in the books, nothing says about broken, but practically it's broken and thrown down. So these matters are coming, that's why this condemning procedure part 7.2 is very important, and make sure that whatever the inventory items with you, you write and get it updated. Now if you have, you all have to write and say these items to be condemned, and please appoint a condemning board and take these out of my books. That's it. Then your records are well made. So these tender regulations and stuff are not coming for you all also. I'm just touching the key areas only actually. In this, I think most of the areas I have covered. So I don't want to give you a lot, but practically what are the issues coming to you only I treat within an hour. So otherwise those unnecessary jargons might make your lunch further late only. So congratulations to you all. Hope I was able to do some little contribution to enhance your knowledge. So thank you very much. Okay.